cold, ambient tone. High in the Himalayas, the Kalapani region is an unforgiving expanse of rock, ice, and thin air. Yet beneath the freezing temperatures, generations of families poured their sweat and labor into surviving on this terrain. Today, those deep ancestral roots are caught in an active geopolitical dispute. The exact lines defining this territory are being contested, placing decades of human history at risk of disappearing. This is a vintage map of northern British India, illustrating the historical borders originally defined by the 1816 Sugauli Treaty. Those macro-political lines drawn centuries ago are now the center of the conflict. While maps change as powers shift, the records of who actually lived on this land provide a historical consistency that a diplomat's pen cannot easily overwrite. To resolve who really owns Kalapani, we have to look past the abstract geography debated in capital cities and examine the microhistory buried directly in the soil. Moving down from the glacial peaks, human life in this region relies entirely on these isolated, winding river valleys. For centuries, 3 specific villages anchored this territory: Kuti, Gunji, and Nabi. Surviving here required intense, grueling agricultural labor. The short Himalayan growing seasons forced these families to cultivate crops rapidly and stockpile resources to outlast the punishing winters. These communities operated independently of the imperial powers negotiating their fates in distant cities. They were distinct, self-sustaining outposts, tethered strictly to their environment. Through generations of planting, harvesting, and building, their physical labor transformed a vague geographical buffer zone into a definitive physical homeland. All of that agricultural labor generated a very specific paper trail through a system called tiro, the local term for state land tax. A formal portion of everything they grew was converted into government revenue. The historical archives contain the exact tiro records for Kuti, Gunji, and Nabi. These documents show that the villagers paid their annual dues directly to the sovereign state of Nepal. In territorial disputes, the regular collection of taxes is often viewed as a demonstration of effective administration, the practical, day-to-day exercise of authority. These records suggest that the state was actively managing the lives of the people who lived there. This map displays boundaries established by the 1816 Sugauli Treaty. For villagers, it formalized borders they already maintained through taxes. Notice the sweeping, generalized northern borderline. While political lines are fragile, economic records remain tied to the physical land. These tax records provide a concrete evidentiary layer. When international political lines fail to provide clarity, these microeconomic records are what actually demonstrate sovereignty. Fast forward to the present day, and those specific ancestral ties have become the primary line of defense in the current border conflict. The physical archives holding the tiro records of Kuti, Gunji, and Nabi function as literal shields, protecting modern Nepal's territorial integrity. This creates an immediate need for rigorous historical research and the active preservation of these documents. Without physical archives, the region's microhistory can easily be erased by louder political narratives. A nation's authority relies on maintaining an unbroken historical bond with its citizens, continuously recognized through centuries of state ceremony, taxation, and official record-keeping. Borders are human constructs. They dissolve entirely if we forget the specific people whose lives gave them shape. Sovereignty is built through the accumulation of daily life,